USA versus Mexico, one of the epic soccer rivalries anywhere in the world today. And with the latest chapter of that rivalry being written on Wednesday, April 15th at the Alamo Dome, I wonder if we just might be taking it for granted. I mean, it's big, it's huge, but it wasn't always like that. The USA has faced Mexico more than any other national team in history, 63 times. But at one point, the USA went 47 years between wins. Not exactly the recipe for a rivalry. So how did we get here? Well, it all started in the summer of 1995, when some of you watching this probably weren't even born. The US registered their biggest ever win, still to this day, against Mexico at RFK Stadium. 4-0. June 18th, 1995. Now, it was a friendly, but if that wasn't enough to poke the bear, the two sides met again just a few weeks later in the quarterfinals of the Copa AMÉRICA. That game in Paysandú, Uruguay, finished 0-0, but the USA advanced 4-1 in a penalty kick shootout. Mexico were knocked out, and boy did it hurt. The US coach at the time, Steve Sampson, said this about that game, quote, "Beating Mexico for the second time in a month raised the ire of a country not accustomed to competition in the CONCACAF region. The United States was no longer the stepchild to Mexico in our region. It was the spark for the players. USA versus Mexico would never be the same for the guys between the lines." And 6 years later, in 2001, the rivalry took yet another leap. It was February 2001, and instead of going for the big payday by hosting a US-Mexico World Cup qualifier in Southern California, US head coach Bruce Arena convinced the US Soccer Federation to host the match in the cold of Columbus, Ohio, an intimate Cruz Stadium. The competition with Mexico was now important not just to the players, but to the US soccer establishment. And the US soccer community at large bought into it. As a result, the legend of the Guerra Fria, the Cold War, was born. A stroke of marketing genius, which was helped in no small part by the fact that the US won the game 2-0. Their first World Cup qualifying win over Mexico in over 20 years. Then, a year later, it was time for mainstream America to take notice of USA versus Mexico. 2002 World Cup, round of 16, Jeonju, South Korea. The US crushes Mexico's World Cup dreams and eliminates El Tri with, you guessed it, another 2-0 result. And 2-0 was officially part of the soccer lexicon in this country. So if you're new to USA versus Mexico, now you know why it matters so much. And if you've yet to experience it in person or on TV, you're not going to want to miss the latest installment from San Antonio on Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, UniMas, and Univision Deportes. And we'll have all the coverage for you from the Alamo Dome right here on MLSsoccer.com.